So the fact that some people are even finding the show to be healing in some way, like because it's really validating what they went through, that means a lot to us.
Hey guys, welcome to Slurp and Share. My name is Daryl, and today we're sitting with the founder of S.O.S.A, Rue Powell. It's an organization out of New Haven, Connecticut that is focused on helping keep our kids safe from online sex abuse. Rue, welcome. So glad to have you today. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, I'm so excited. You've been doing amazing work with your organization, S.O.S.A, for how long now?
Well, S.O.S.A as an organization has been around since 2020.
And S.O.S.A stands for what?
S.O.S.A stands for Safe from Online Sex Abuse, and our goal at S.O.S.A is to help prevent online sex abuse and exploitation.
That's a big pill to swallow at times, and I know it's something that people may not always be super comfortable talking about. What led you to start this organization to keep kids safe?
You know, you and I didn't grow up with smartphones in our hands. We may have grown up with, like, you had AOL, like the but not a smartphone in your hand. Snapchat's only been around for the past decade. And I love technology. I think it's great. I can FaceTime family members. I can keep tabs on what's going on in the world. But with new technology comes new avenues to abuse. So when we were younger, my parents were only concerned about the people that were in close proximity to me. So when I'm walking home from school or, you know, sports practice, people that are actually in our area. With the advent of smartphones and technology, now anyone can really access anyone. And online sex abuse means that a kid doesn't have to be in the same city, state, country to be abused by an online predator.
Now, there's a show that's been based off of your organization called Undercover Underage, which folks can watch on DiscoveryPlus. Is that correct?
Yep, Investigation Discovery or DiscoveryPlus.
Awesome. Now, when I think of this show, and I've seen a couple episodes, it gives me very much like the To Catch a Predator kind of vibes, like kind of Chris Hansen. Is that what you're doing here, or what's the?
Well, the difference between TCAP and Undercover Underage is Undercover Underage is based on what we do at S.O.S.A. And S.O.S.A is a nonprofit, and we do a lot of things, and one of them is the decoy work that you see. So to explain what you see in Undercover Underage, we put decoys online, teenagers, and we pose as minors in order to identify perpetrators for law enforcement, bad actors, people who want to harm children. They want to harm for a variety of reasons. They are looking to, you know, just abuse a kid online for their own gratification. They are looking to collect and disseminate CSAM, which stands for Child Sex Abuse Material, what we've always known as child pornography.
Gotcha.
They're looking to be a hands-on perpetrator. There's a variety of reasons why someone might contact a child online. TCAP did a lot of that, but it's based on, it's a TV show. And what we do at S.O.S.A is definitely more varied. We have the decoy work that you see on Undercover Underage, but we also do education with students, with parents and caregivers. We work with legislators to advocate for better online safety laws, and we also work with technology companies that are looking to make the platform, the landscape, safer for kids.
It seems like there's added technology and the ability to kind of capture more data on these folks that are, or adults that are contacting minors, that both legislation and, you know, thinking in terms of where you move forward from here. What does it look like now, and how do you translate that into what you'd like to see for the future?
So S.O.S.A has a rolling staff. So if you've seen an episode of Undercover Underage, you see all of us around this table, and there's a researcher and a visuals person, and there's a team of us. But that's actually a rolling staff because we don't do decoy work every single day out of the year. One, it's cost prohibitive. And two, we need to take breaks just for the sake of mental health because it's dark work. Right now we're run by a lot of volunteers. We don't have anyone full-time paid yet. We'd like to. That is the goal. So we can provide communities with more assistance.
So can you give me an example of some of the work that S.O.S.A does outside of the decoy work?
Yeah, so one of the things that we do is we do workshops with young people, and it's important to have these conversations with kids so they kind of know what they're up against. And oftentimes I'll talk to them about tricks that some perpetrators will use, signs they might see, and often I'll talk to them and they'll go, oh yeah, that actually someone did slide into my DMs and say that. And I'm like, yes, that was probably someone that was up to no good. So these girls were exposed to this guy who was obviously doing some terrible things online at the moment.
Yep.
And to their credit, they went home, they told their mom, and their mom was like, I don't know how to handle this. She reached out to me. So I did a Zoom with these girls because they were in another state.
Yep.
And they were so cute. And I was like, wow, that must have been really confusing. And one girl's like, yeah, I didn't even know what was going on. So I just tried to kind of slide out of the camera view. I was able to tell them, like, look, it's not your fault. It's not even your friend's fault for going on that website. It's that guy's fault. He was the one breaking the law, not you. And sometimes people are tricky on the internet and they're trying to do things that are against the law. And we had this really sweet and like frank conversation, an age-appropriate conversation.
Right.
And then afterwards, the mom messaged me and said, thank you so much. It actually felt like they felt comfortable to tell me more about what happened. And so again, not a substitute for therapy, but to have another adult saying, hey, that wasn't your fault, or hey, like this is what happens online sometimes, but it's not because of something that you did. And being able to do that for people in the community really feels good, because otherwise, you can really get steeped in shame, and that can affect you in the long term. So being validated in what happened to you, I think, is something that a lot of people have said that Undercover Underage does for them. One message I just got was, thank you so much, because the show helped me realize what actually happened to me when I was 9 to 12, and that it wasn't my fault.
Right.
And so the fact that some people are even finding the show to be healing in some way, because it's really validating what they went through, that means a lot to us.
Referencing Undercover Underage, which is a great show that everyone should check out on DiscoveryPlus or Investigation Discovery, shameless plug. I was watching the show and I saw, because we're in a restaurant space so I can't ignore it, there was a time in which the person contacting the minor or your decoy asked you to show up at a restaurant, a local restaurant. And that kind of sent red flags over my mind. I'm like, whoa, you know what I mean? You don't always think of, well, I guess it makes sense because obviously you're gonna go to public spaces where do people feel safe? Restaurants are those things. So is there things that we as restaurant folks can do to try to keep an eye out for it in terms of keeping, we try to keep guests safe and such? I felt this powerless, feeling when watching it.
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, unfortunately, the sad answer is that a predator doesn't necessarily fit a specific mold or a specific description. We've watched, the movies where the bad guy looks like the bad guy and he's super scary and super creepy. But what you see on Undercover Underage and what we see at SOSA is that a lot of the times these perpetrators are respected community members, and their parents, or they are, they're family men, they're community people, and they're maybe even conventionally attractive, they're charismatic. They're not necessarily someone that you would assume is,
other.
Yeah, or has really malicious intent.
How do we get from just trying to be preventative to being reactive and seeking out to stopping this from happening, or making it more difficult for these things to take place?
Yeah. We have to look at it holistically, and there are a lot of ways to combat online sex abuse and exploitation. So we really want to hit all those tactics, all those strategies.
Gotcha.
One is the decoy work that you see, and that's the exciting stuff. That's the stuff that people want to tune into. But we also do, education, empathy-led education with kids. We also do workshops for parents and caregivers and teachers. We also work with legislators to see what we can do that helps prevent this stuff happening in the first place. The final thing that we do that we're really grateful for is that we've partnered with a tech company called Spectrum Labs. We take all of our conversations with predators. We remove all of the personally identifiable information. We identify patterns in grooming, patterns in language, tactics, and we give it all to these data scientists at Spectrum. They in turn take that and use it to train their artificial intelligence to better detect for signs of child abuse. And they are working with companies that are the social media platforms, the gaming platforms, the dating apps. And the goal is, I think some of these companies are realizing that if they're going to open up their platforms to kids as young as 13, then they have to also do something to make it safe. So we feel like between the technology, the legislation, the spreading awareness, and the empathy-led education outside of the decoy work, I think we can really move the needle that way. And the future looks like doing that doing more of that and also doing it better. And right now we're a small but mighty team, but we'd love to see our team grow and then our efficacy grow as well.
Absolutely.
Well, please feel like your team has grown through this partnership with us. We're here to support you. Yeah, so for those at home that want to support the wonderful work that SOSA is doing, the important work SOSA is doing, you can donate directly to their website, which will give a little bloop right there. And then the other thing that you can do is come into any matchup. For the month of April, we're donating 50 cents for every bowl of ramen we sell to SOSA to help them in their fight against online sex abuse. So, Ruth, thanks for joining me today. I appreciate it. This has been amazing, very informative. And, let me know what we can do to make it happen.
Thank you so much for your support. Really appreciate it.
No doubt. Thank you.